So we're going to keep it really simple, and our goal is we're going to learn it the hard way, the Torah reading, meaning with the trope, and we're going to just do it as a group, right, that day. If anybody decides that they want to try to take on their own aliyah or a piece of an aliyah on their own, not in the group, I would love that, and I'm happy to support in any way I can. Okay. Now, would you mind closing that door? So, just like the last class, this class is being videoed. It can't see any of you, it only sees me, so don't be ashamed to speak up. But the good thing about that is that you can find it on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, Elana Rozenfeld. You can watch the video again if you want. You can skip to pieces if there's something you don't remember. Go for it. That's what it's there for. So, review from last week, okay? We have some people who couldn't be here last week and are here today. So, first of all, here, can we pass that extra copy to Betty? First of all, the purpose of the trope, okay? What is trope? What is the purpose? So let's review. Anybody remember anything about trope and the purpose of trope? Yes. Well, hold on. Betty, raise your hand.
Same as faith. Punctuation.
Punctuation, okay? So as I say to my children, it's ancient punctuation, right? So an etnachta, anybody remember what an etnachta is like in punctuation? Semicolon, very good. And Sopf-pasuk, period, very good. End of sentence, literally, very good. And katon, comma, very good. You weren't even in my class.
I watched it in between the puppy videos you were in.
So, great. Really, really good. So, punctuation, which is great because we all need punctuation in our sentences. Otherwise, the Torah, as someone said last week, would be one run-on sentence, one really long run-on sentence. What else? What else is another purpose of trope? Phrasing, which is also punctuation. But phrasing in other ways too. I mean, you can tell, even if we can't assign a particular trope to a particular punctuation mark, it does give us phrasing. There's a flow, right? Yanana merchati pcha munach et nachta. It makes sense that you end on et nachta, not merchati pcha. It feels like there's something following it. So there is sort of, it does give you a flow to the sentence. What else? Think about individual words.
Accent and emphasis.
It tells you where the emphasis and the accent is on a word, right? Elana, right? Howie, it would be on Howie, right? It would be on the O or the H, right? So it tells us how to emphasize the words. And that's important because sometimes, even if you know Hebrew, sometimes the proper emphasis of the word in Torah isn't where one thinks it would be. So it's good to look at where the trope is and know that that's where to emphasize. Anything else?
The Torah tells a story, so with the trope, it basically pauses and gives you the emphasis on.
Yeah. And occasionally, the trope will also contribute to the feelings in the story. Occasionally. For example, shalshelet, which is a very, very rare trope. It happens 4 times in the entire Torah. Chaye Sarah is one of those times. That's coming up pretty soon. It means chain. And it's a very long trope. It goes like this. Shalshelet.
Oh my goodness.
That's right. 4 times in the entire Torah. And because we do triennial cycle, it actually happens 4 times in 3 years. So for us, it's extremely rare. That trope is always, it's connected to what's going on in the story. It's always during a time of, hesitance, kind of. But usually it's more of like punctuation phrasing. So let's get into it. Let's remember how these trope symbols go. Now, if you've learned this in the past slightly differently, everyone's trope can sound a little different, so I'm okay with that. Yes?
I don't have what they have.
Oh, there's some extra over there where it says right in front of Jerry. Yeah.
No,
Is that it?
no,
No, it's not. That's not. Never mind. Take mine. I didn't make enough copies. Okay. So I may have to borrow yours on occasion. So I changed the Torah reading. So ignore the one we did last week. Sorry. I changed it because that one we can't actually do because it's a bat mitzvah that week, and they're doing all of the readings. So this one is going to be the first week in December for whoever can make it. And if you can't make it, it's okay. We'll find a way for you to do a Torah reading if you feel like it. And maybe if there's more than one person who can't make it, we can do a smaller group reading on another day. But we'll learn this one as a group. So let's remind ourselves how to actually sing these trope symbols. So we learn them with hand motions. The hand motions, they work for some people, they don't work for other people. It's just a learning device, nothing more. They are not from Sinai, okay? So we have Mercha, Tipcha, Munah, Etnachta. By the way, these names, it's simply vocabulary. It's just a way so that we know what to call the symbols. It's so that we're speaking the same language for no other purpose. So if you have trouble pronouncing those names, it's not a big deal. Okay, so let's try it. Let's try it together. Ready? Mercha, Tipcha, Munah, Etnachta. Very good. Next one. Tipcha, Munah, Etnachta. Very good. Next one. Mercha, Tipcha, Etnachta. Very good. Next one. Tipcha, Etnachta. Now, a review from last week. What's with all of the different versions of this phrase?
Sometimes
Sentence stuff. How many words in the phrase?
Yeah, sentences or sentence fragments in this case. They have different lengths, right? What did we do last week? I picked on Deanna. Michael went to the store. Right? Michael bought a bagel. Right. So even sometimes we'll use small words like right, to the, and they'll be essentially hyphenated. They'll be considered one word. Howie loves bagels, right? Indeed. So so every sentence fragment is of a different length, and it's pretty intuitive. I don't need to necessarily articulate every aspect of that. So I think we're good. Any other questions on etnachta phrases? Okay.
So you have to decipher on your own each word?
Yeah, so that's good. So let's look at the actual reading for a second, okay? Now, can you find me an etnachta phrase? So it can be that entire first phrase, or it can be a piece of the phrase, as you see.
Shechem? I don't know if that's it.
That's a different one.
Okay.
Okay, so you're seeing one. Say it nice and loud. Hold on. So I see someone saying bimir ma. I'm just going to show the video. Okay. So bimir ma. It's opposite on the video. Vaidaberu. Bimir ma. Vaidaberu. So it's the second line, 1, 2, 3, fourth word. I consider hyphenated words one word. So yes, so that is definitely a piece of an etnachta phrase. What do you have there? What's the trope? What's it called? Tipcha etnachta. Does everybody see where we are? So we go tipcha etnachta, and let's read those words. Now I hear some people saying vayedaberu, but think again, right? Where's the emphasis? Very good, Faith. Yes. Bemirma vayedaberu. Yeah. So to answer your question, that is the process of how we learn it in the beginning, right? In the beginning, we need to break it into little pieces, understand what the trope phrase is, understand how to read the word, right? When we get better at it, we have more practice, then you could just, go, Vayanu v'nei Yaakov et Shechem ve'et Chamor aviv b'mirma vaydaberu, right? For me, I just make that connection automatically, and in practice, you do start to make that connection automatically. But in right now, you have to take away the pieces, separate the pieces, and learn them individually.
So what is Shechem?
Shechem, you see that? Does everyone see Shechem? First word of the second. Shechem. Oops. Shechem. Right here is it's actually not a pashta, but it's a different trope because it's on top of the word. It's a different trope that is a kadma. We'll get to it.
Okay.
It's a different trope, but the placement of the trope is important.
You don't see pashta without mirpa, do you?
Are they
always
you do.
It could be.
But the reason why that is a kadma and not a pashta is right here, is because a pashta, as we'll study in a second, is always at the end of a word. Always. No matter where the emphasis is. So sometimes, like Trope Trainer, which is how I print these things out, look at the bottom to the third to last final full line.
Third to last.
Full line. You should see et benotenu. Do you see that? And there's two things on there.
Yeah.
That is a pashta. They're giving you an extra one to show you where the emphasis is. Because remember, one of the purpose of trope is to show the emphasis of the word. But what do you do for those exceptional tropes that are always in the same place on the word? Because there are some, because there's an exception to everything because they want to make our lives crazy.
So is there two pashtas?
So it's not actually two pashtas. So you don't go na 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 na, right? You can't even do that. They give you one. It's like the editor, basically.
What's
the editor.
the purpose of the darker one?
The darker one.
Right.
Okay, so the darker one is the fake one, and that one it's only put there by the editor of Trope Trainer, basically, or the editor of the Chumash you're looking in, or Tikkun, to show you this is where you emphasize the word FYI. But the actual pashta is the one that's at the end of the word.
So on that particular word, you wouldn't emphasize the end, you would emphasize where the darker piece is.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Because
They do that very
pashta.
often? There was one-
Well, pashta is always at the end of the word. So my name, for example, Elana, if there was a pashta on my name, forgive me if anyone doesn't know what a pashta is, we're going to get to it shortly. If there was a pashta on my name, where would it be? The end. Because pashta is one of those weird, annoying tropes that's always at the end just because. Because it can't be that easy. I know. You don't say Ilana, right? But pashta, if it were most other trope, it would be in the middle. But pashta is always at the end. So some of these nice programs like Trope Trainer or these nice chumashim and tikkunim where they want to make it easier for you, they put an extra one. So they would put an extra one, a second one, in the middle of my name to show that's how you emphasize her name. It's not at the end. Does that make sense? Yeah.
It's like
So-
the I after E.
Except for there's always an exception because that's just the way the world works. It's not that simple. So we are fantastic at nachta phrases, I think. Okay, so let's move on. Sopf-pasuk phrases. Now this is still review for many of us. Some people it may be new. we have a mercha tipcha. We know what that sounds like, right? Mercha tipcha. Now we have another mercha, so it sounds the same as this. Mercha Sopf-pasuk. So here's with the hand motions for anyone who wants. Mercha tipcha. Mercha Sopf-pasuk. Very good. Try the next line. Tipcha. Mercha Sopf-pasuk. Again, mercha. Mercha tipcha. Sopf-pasuk. Tipcha. Sopf-pasuk. You sound like you guys really understand this and have internalized it. Even you. So, and you get that. So, pasuk is like, so often you'll have an et nachta phrase followed by a Sopf-pasuk phrase, right? Like, Deanna went to the store. Deanna bought a bagel. It's intuitive. It makes sense when you understand it, right? Any questions about Sopf-pasuk phrases? Let's look in the Torah reading and find a Sopf-pasuk. Now, these are easy to find because it's always in the same place. It's always at the end of a sentence.
So on the second line, first 8, Dina Achutan.
Yes, the first 3 words of the second line, right? Of the second full line. I'm just going to use this for a second. Oops. Right here where it says et. So let's look at the Hebrew. Et dina achotam. Very good. And everyone try to sing it. So we've got a tipcha mercha Sopf-pasuk. Let's sing it. Et dina achotam. Great. So it is very intuitive when you start to get it. Very good. Let's look at another one. Where's another Sopf-pasuk? Yes, Michael. Yes. So Michael found the next one. A little hint: it's always before a little number, because the little number they number the psukim. So if we have 1, 2, 3, 4 lines from the top, right? Do you see? Yes. So let's just read right here. Let's read it first. Ki cherpa hi lanu. Very good. And trope, what do we have? We have mercha tipcha Sopf-pasuk. Now read it with everything. Ki. Oh, yes. I messed up. Right, so ki cherpa, because it's a hyphenated word, we need to smush a lot of syllables into one trope, right? So we go ki cherpa hi lanu. Very good. Some of my kids, by the way, little pronunciation thing, some of my students will say heave because they see a vav there. But the vav is not meant to be pronounced in this case. It's one of those weird exceptions. So it's actually pronounced he, as if the vav were a yud. Okay? Ki cherpa hi lanu. Very good. And let's just go down one line, and we could see the next one. Lehimol lachem kol zachar. Let's sing it. Lehimol lachem kol zachar. Very good. Oh, let's just keep doing this. You see the next one. Second line from the bottom. V'hayinu le'am echad. Sing it. V'hayinu le'am echad. Very good. So that one started with a tipcha, right? It was a partial phrase, right? And then the very final one sounds different, right? When we end an aliyah, it sounds different than just ending a pasuk. So it goes like this. Mercha tipcha, mercha Sopf-pasuk. So we see, where's our ending? Last full line. Yep, mercha tipcha Sopf-pasuk right here. V'lakachnu et bitenu v'halachnu. Let's do that again. V'lakachnu et bitenu Vehalachnu. So, velakachnu et bitenu, vehalachnu. Very good. Very good. This week, yesterday, in my Torah reading, there was actually one, and I'd never seen this before, where the final phrase was just Sopf-pasuk. I've never seen that before. No mercha tipcha, nothing. It was just Sopf-pasuk on one word. So I was like, da-na-na-na-na, and it was one word. Na-na-na-na. I had to smush all of that trope music into one word. I'd never had that before. So we're very good with Sopf-pasuk. I think we are fantastic at it. All right. Now we get to other phrases, katon phrases. We did do a little bit of this last week, okay? So we have these words are mapach, pashta, munah, katon. Now, anybody remember something about munach? Munach is a strange fellow.
It always has a neighbor, has a friend.
Munach always has a friend, and Munach is like that kid in high school who really didn't. He had different friends, and he would sort of change who he was depending on the friend because, because he didn't really know who he was. So if he was with the, with the jocks, he'd be a jock. If he was with the artsy people, he'd be artsy. So you need to know who Munach is with. Okay, so we had mercha, tipcha, munach et nachta, right? Mercha, tipcha, munach et nachta. That's what munach sounds like when munach is with et nachta. But here munach is with katon. He sounds different. So we have mapach, pashta, munach, katon. You see, munach has a different tune. Munach sounds different. So hold on. Okay. So with the hand motions, okay, in case they help anyone. Mapach, pashta, munach, katon. Next one. Pashta, munach, katon. Very good. Munach, katon. Mapach, pashta, katon. Very good. Pashta, katon. Very good. Hello, Joel. Welcome. Just that's okay. Look with someone else because I didn't make enough copies. Okay.
I'm sorry.
No problem. But this is I'm videoing it. It's going to be on my YouTube channel, so you can find it and you can catch up if you'd like. Okay. But for now, just try to catch on. So you guys sound really good at this, actually. Any questions so far about this phrase? Okay. So mapach, pashta. And by the way, no one's asked me this, but just in case you're curious. It always goes in this order, right? This is a phrase. You'll have pieces of the phrase, but you're never going to have pashta, mapach, katon. I mean, I can't even sing it. You wouldn't ever have that. So they can go in small pieces, but they always go in this order. This is the phrase. So let's take a look in our Torah reading. Where do we have mapach, pashta, munach, katon? Yeah, Joel, you could look on with Betty. Mapach, pashta, munach, katon, or any of those. Actually, do you mind looking on?
Second full line. Lo, nuchal.
Second full line. Okay. Yes. Let's see. So we have, put even closer. We have lo, nuchal, and now look at this. Two pashtas. Just for fun. Hadavar hazeh. So, lo nuchal la'asot hadavar hazeh. So it goes like this. Well, let's sing it with the trope names just for fun. Mapach, pashta, munach, katon. Very good. Now with the word, let's try it. Lo nuchal la'asot et hadavar hazeh. Sorry, I added an et because my Hebrew brain just told me to, but it's not what's written here. So let's try it again for me. Lo nuchal la'asot hadavar hazeh. Oh, look, now we have another one right after. Latet et achotenu. Very good. Oh, we could do the next words too because we know those tropes. It's et nachta phrase. Leish asher lo or la. Now, quick pronunciation thing. So you see under the ayin, that word is pronounced orla. Okay. Under the ayin, you have a vowel, that sort of a vowel. It's called a kamatz. Do you see it? And it's bold.
Arla.
Yes, but it's actually pronounced orla. So that's what's called a kamatz katan. Do you see it? You see it? So
I didn't bring my magnifying glass.
So normally,
I got the word.
that vowel that looks like a T, right, is pronounced ah, right? Well, it depends. If you learned old school Hebrew, old school Ashkenazi Hebrew, then, or if you're learning, if you're in an Orthodox world right now and learning, then it would be o, always, right? Comments in Yiddish, right?
Can you write down all the exceptions for us?
Yeah, well, try to. You could. I don't know. Sorry.
So how was that pronounced?
But in modern Israeli Hebrew, we pronounce a kamatz ah, right? But if you see that it's bold, that's what Trope Trainer does because they're very nice. They make it bold for you to let you know. Sim Shalom, Sidur Sim Shalom does like a line with a dot under it. They just make it look different for you, just so you know that it's called a kamatz katan, and kamatz katan is pronounced o, not a, like the word kol. We see that all the time, and we just sort of take it for granted that that's how it's pronounced. We know when none of you say kal, we say kol, but it's the same thing. So it's kamatz katan. It's pronounced o, not a. And look, you see or la. So you see the other kamatz in that word is not bold, right? That's pronounced a. Okay, unless of course you have the Ashkenazi, very Ashkenazi pronunciation. You pronounce all kamatzim as o. Okay, does that make sense?
Would that be an expectation if you were chanting Hebrew that somebody would know that you'd be able to make the distinction between the ah and I mean, when I was taught Hebrew, somehow it was the same thing. So
so when you were taught Hebrew, this vowel was always probably pronounced o, right? And then this vowel was a.
Maybe it was. I didn't realize.
So you can do that, right? You can do that. That's just an Ashkenazi pronunciation. But to say arla, that I would say is incorrect. So, now keep in mind, if you're up there reading Torah, and if you say arla, I'm not going to correct you. Like there's a hierarchy of what's important when it comes to pronunciation, and so no, I wouldn't correct you for that. But if I'm teaching from the onset, right, then I would say that that's how to pronounce it.
You're saying orla.
Orla. Yeah.
And no one's going to really catch it because half the people.
I'm the only person who would catch that.
No one would realize.
But that's sort of in studying Talmud, they have terms, b'diavad and lechatchila. Like lechatchila means from the start. You're not supposed to do this from the start, but b'diavad, if you've done it, it's not the worst thing in the world. So from the start, I'm trying to teach you the right way. Of course, if you forget, it's not the end of the world. So that would be pronounced leish asher lo or la. Very good. And now let's finish it. Yeah. Yes, very good. And then let's finish the sentence. Ki cherpa hi lanu. Oh boy, that sounds familiar. We've done that already. So very good. And let's just do the next phrase because we've got that one too, where it says number 15. Ach bezot neot lachem. Very good. Now we've got something we don't know. We'll learn it later. But then look at the next one. We've got a munach katon. Munach katon with the words.
Where are you? I took my
Oh, sorry. We are 1, 2, 3, 4 lines from the bottom. So we have tihiyu chamonu, right? And don't say chamonu, right? Because the emphasis is on the mo. Chamonu. Let's continue. We have a Sopf-pasuk phrase. Lehimo lachem kol zachar. Boy, let's just continue. See how much you know now. We have mapach pashta katon. So now with the words v'natanu et benotenu lachem. Let's just do that again. V'natanu et benotenu lachem. Very good. Let's continue because we know the trope. Ve'et benotechem nikach lanu. Okay, so even I had trouble because you have to squish a lot into there. So ve'et benotechem. Try that. Ve'et benotechem nikach lanu. Continue. Vayashavnu itechem. Very good. Continue. Vehayinu le'am echad. Wow. So we just have done almost the entire aliyah. Okay. So we really know. You can see that the tropes that we've learned so far are mostly the most common. Right? They're the most common. There's a few other tropes. We need to know those too in order to be able to do an entire aliyah.
How can we skip the word on that one? Eam.
Because that's a trope we don't know yet.
Okay.
So we will get there. Is it? Yeah, it's a little triangle. It's called yativ, but we'll get there. Yativ.
So do you, when you're doing this, obviously, you break it down and you identify, obviously, what it fits. Is that correct?
Right. You break it down. Say that again. You break it down.
So you break down the words and you go back and you look and see how it fits.
Right. So you break down. All right. So teach you something that one of my voice teachers in the past taught me when I was learning, classical music, and it's the same idea here. I was having trouble with a piece, and she said I was sort of learning something wrong, and she said, "Look, you've got language, you've got the words. It's another language, first of all. It's Italian, German, whatever. You've got the melody, and you've got the rhythm. If you try to learn them all at one time, then you can learn things wrong, right? Unless, of course, it comes really easily, whatever. But so then if you're having any trouble, you take some of those elements away and isolate them. So that's how we're doing it now. Of course, when you're like me, I don't have to isolate. I could just read it. It makes it much more difficult because I'm fluent at trope. It makes it much more difficult for me to memorize it in order to adequately learn a Torah reading to do from the Torah. Okay? That's another issue. But what we do is we're isolating. We've got Hebrew. We've got trope. That's basically it. We've got Hebrew and we've got trope. All right, so two elements. But even the trope, sometimes it's easier. We remember the way they're called sometimes. So it's easier sometimes to first go, Mercha tipcha, Mercha Sopf-pasuk, right? And then to try to put them together with the words, et dina achotam. But first we may have to read et dina achotam and just get the word in our mouths, just get the words in our mouths. And then ha na 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 na, and then put them together. Does that answer your question? Yes. Yeah. And then as we get more and more fluent with it, we can take out some of those steps and just sort of go right into it. And some of you are going right into it, so I can see that you're getting much more fluent at it. Any other questions about this stuff? You seem pretty good. Yeah. So let's move on. This next one is on its side, so it's hard to see. Oh, okay. So, this next one, this is what if you have an extra word. Deanna, can you just move that chair over a little bit? If you have an extra word in the mapach pashta phrase. I'm having a little trouble with it, sorry. So if you have an extra word, then you have Kozma, okay? Kozma, mapach pashta, Munah katon. Kozma, mapa, pashta, katon. Very good. I'm going to put this back where it belongs. Kozma. So the hand motion for Kozma, if you'd like to learn that, if the hand motions help you, well, I'm just trying to log back in, okay, is just like one arm up. So we go Kozma, mapa, pashta, munah, katon. And we got Kozma again. Kozma, mapa, pashta, katon. Very good. So Kozma, it's just sometimes you've just got a really long sentence fragment. So we needed to add a trope symbol. Okay. Should we just take a look, see if there are any Kozmas? Now there's a Kozma ve'azla here, and that's a different trope. We'll get to that. So I don't want to look, so that's the very first one we have. But are there any others that you see? I don't think I see any. So we can't look at, yeah, I don't see any. Okay. So now we're into this Revi'i phrases. Now this we have not done yet in this class. Okay? I don't think. So we have Kozma, ve'azla, Munah, Revi'i. Look, our friend Munah again. He's hanging out with a different crowd. Who is he hanging out with? Revi'i. So he sounds different when he's with Revi'i. Now Kozma, even though we just did Kozma, it is the same trope, but it's going to sound a little different. It's going to sound a little different. And then here we have something, it's like sort of a different story, so we'll get to that. So it goes like this. You could let out your inner ballerina. Kozma, ve'azla, munah, revi'i. Let's try it again. Kozma, ve'azla, munah, revi'i. Very good. And then let's try the next one. Kozma, ve'azla, revi'i. Very good. Munah, revi'i. Now we'll get to this in a second. Quick question. So what does munah sound like with revi'i? Different.
This comes down a little bit.
Can you sing it?
Is it?
Can you sing it?
Munah, revi'i.
Munah, revi'i. Try it by yourself.
Munah,
revi'i. It's just good. I'm just sort of articulating that, right? Because munach sounds different. Often my students say, but it's a munach. It should sound like munach, right? Or munach. But no, this is munach revi'i. He's hanging out with the revi'i crowd, so he sounds different. Munach revi'i. Yeah, munach revi'i. Very good. Now this guy down here is a little different, okay? So sometimes you see, oh, and I apologize, I just noticed this in the video that we're going opposite. So, but sometimes you have munach followed by a line, munach revi'i, okay? So the line is, the line in general, sometimes you see a line. Sometimes it's in this context. Sometimes it's not in this context. It's just a random line, okay? That line is called a psik, which comes from the word lahafsik in Hebrew, which means to
end.
To end, like pasuk, right? It means to stop. Yeah, lahafsik. Tafsik it, stop that. So psik means pause. So sometimes you'll see this just randomly, and if you're following along, and I'm leaning, sometimes I'll be like ya na na ya na 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 na, and I just observe this little pause. Here, this is sort of a different context. So this munach, followed by this, followed by this, followed by this, okay, in this specific context, is called munach legarme. Okay, munach legarme, and it goes like this. Munach legarme. Sometimes I just say munach. Munach. Try that again. Munach. Then it goes. Munach revi'i. So try it again. Munach Very good. I don't think that there are any of those in this.
There was in the other one, though.
There was in the other one. Okay.
Over
so
here.
yeah, and you will see them. They're pretty common. They're pretty common. Any questions about Rivi'i phrases?
How does that Munah sound again?
This one?
The
Munah, Munah, Rivi'i. Try it by yourself. Good. I want to clarify that little tune. Munah. Try it. Munah. Good. Munah. Rivi'i. Now, when I clarify the tune of something, also just remember this is, I'm teaching you. I'm not even totally teaching you the way I actually lane. I'm teaching you one way. Everyone does it a little differently. When I learned from my bat mitzvah, I learned from a Yemenite rabbi, and he was doing Ashkenazi trope, but his etnachta was etnachta. So he didn't do, mercha tivcha. Oh, no, I was thinking of Haftarah trope. Mercha tivcha munach etnachta. Like he didn't do it. He was like etnachta. So everyone, it's an oral tradition, and it can change a little bit based on who you're talking to and who's doing it. But for the purpose of the class and simplicity, I'm trying to teach you one specific way. Okay. So let's try it again. Munah. Munah. Rivi'i. Perfect. Oh, let's look in here and find. Are there any?
Yeah, we're over here.
Where?
Alehem. Verse 14.
Any Rivi'i phrases?
Verse.
Vayom ru aleichem.
Ah, right, yeah, that's what Michael's. Okay, there it is. Yeah. So you see the very beginning of verse 14, right here. So we have, what do we have? We have munach Rivi'i. Sometimes, by the way, if it's complicated trope, we need to even just say what we have. Like, okay, we've got a munach Rivi'i. I mean, sometimes you could break it down even that far. Munach Rivi'i. Very good. Now with the words. Vayomeru Aleihem. And remind me, why do we not say Vayomeru?
Because of the accent. Where is it?
Smart people. Yes, because of the accent. Very good. Right? The accent is where the trope is. Vayomeru Aleihem. Let's continue a little bit. Lo nuchal la'asot hadavar hazeh latet et achotenu leish asher lo or la ki cherpa hi lanu. Continue. Afirot neot lachem. Skip a little bit. Skip one word. Tihiyu chamonu. Tihiyu chamonu. Lehimo lachem kol zachar. Venatanu. What's that word again? Venatanu et benotenu. Lachem ve'et benotechem nikach lanu. Sorry, I messed up. Ve'yashavnu itechem ve'hayinu le'am echad. And now let's skip a little bit. Skip two words. We got to Eleinu lehimol. Eleinu lehimol. End of the aliyah. Velakachnu et bitenu vehalachnu. Nice. How is it for you guys going through much of that aliyah? Not bad.
I wish I could understand what the translation a little bit better.
And that's a whole nother thing. And sometimes you don't want to understand the translation, frankly.
I think you have to put a lot of thought in this.
Yeah.
I didn't realize.
Well, but it is even more powerful, of course, when right now I'm focusing on the trope. But when you learn an aliyah at home, do try to look at the translation, try to look at what you're talking about. Because sometimes you're talking about really disgusting things and maybe you just want to like go through it really fast. Sometimes you're talking about really nice things and you want to give it a little more weight. I mean, I've seen people read Torah more expressively than others, I know Diane, when she reads like the 10 Commandments, where she does it with like a really strong presence, because it's the 10 Commandments or it's the Shema or, so, we, that's like the cherry on top, the icing on the cake. But I think you guys are doing a really great job with getting this. Any questions here? Okay.
V'yasla again.
Kadma v'yasla. Let's try that again. Kadma v'yasla. Good, continue.
Munah
Revi'i. Good. This is only session 2. We're gonna have to get advanced next week, I think.
Can we go
Do it
back?
again.
Do you want to go back?
Yeah.
Do it again. Could you
This
please?
phrase?
Sure.
Yes, absolutely.
Sing it again.
You ready?
Sure.
Kadma v'yasla.
Munah Revi'i.
I just want to clarify Munah Revi'i. Munah Revi'i. Continue. Kadma
V'yasla Revi'i.
Yes, Revi'i goes Revi'i. Sorry, like Kadma v'yasla Revi'i. Try that again. Kadma v'yasla Revi'i. Good.
Munah
How does Munah go? Good. Munah. Try it again.
Munah Revi'i.
Now this funny one.
Munah.
Close. Munah. Try it again. Munah. Again.
Munah.
Good.
Munah Revi'i.
Now, is that because they're one pausing?
Because when you've got Munah, followed by a psik, followed by a Munach, followed by a Revi'i, it's that kind of, you may be missing you could have Munach, Revi'i. You could be missing that second Munach, but the context of this phrase, the psik, really means it's Munach, psik, and it sounds that way.
Do you have an example of that in this?
Munach. No, not that one in this.
Okay, so go ahead, say that again.
So Munach, that's when you have Munach, psik, Munach, Revi'i, that context, right? You might see a psik here. Kadma v'yasla, Munach, Revi'i. So when it's in any other context, it's just a pause. It doesn't affect the way the trope sounds, right? It's just a pause. Does that make sense?
Because it's at the end?
You have
Because a psik,
Yeah.
normally, in any other context, just means pause.
Okay.
So if it were here, pause. If it were merchati, like if it were merchati pcha psik, munach at nachta, right? It could be like anywhere else. Then that line is just a pause. But in this context,
It's always munach and munach.
it's always like munach,
When there's
munach,
one
revi'i.
munach before the line, there's always another munach following.
Yeah, actually, you know what? What I had said before about sometimes you could be missing the munach, ignore that. That wasn't even correct, okay?
Okay.
So if you see, you need to have this exact context for it to sound like that.
Okay.
If you see munach, psik, revi'i, then I would actually do that munach,
Okay. Only when there's two
revi'i.
munachs.
Two munachs followed by a revi'i. I'm sure you could find someone who disagrees with me, but yeah.
But you sang the munach differently.
How does this one go?
Munach revi'i.
Very good.
So what is that one?
This one, remember, it's munach, psik, munach, revi'i. Goes like that. How?
Okay.
Don't tell me you don't understand it, because you clearly understand it. So it's
Remembering
very
it,
good.
That's the problem.
Huh?
What?
Here is one thing.
Yeah,
Remembering it
well,
is different.
Oh,
That's why we have 5 sessions. We keep practicing, and we,
Or 6.
yeah.
Do it with a group.
And that's why you could also go on
That's right.
YouTube, and you could watch it again. You could watch pieces of it. You could, how did that Munah Psik thing go? And you could just find it in the video, look at it, and you'll remember. Yeah. Yes.
Now, Revi is the pause. There seems to be other places on this particular where there's like 2 dots. Is that that's the Cantor.
Well, okay, so there's 2 kinds of 2 dots. So when people look at 2 vertical dots,
At the end
there's
of
2
it.
different trope symbols that involve 2 vertical dots. There's 2 really small vertical dots on top of a word. That is
Katon.
katon, right?
Okay.
If you see 2 big sort of diamond-shaped dots at the end of a word, that is a Soph-pasuk. Okay?
Yeah.
And sometimes you see a vowel. Some of my students, their vowels aren't so good. They see a shva, which is 2 vertical dots. It looks just like a katon, but it's under a word. That's a vowel. That's a shva. A lot of my students mistake that, and because they see the 2 vertical dots. It's confusing. So let's see if we can move on a little bit. Are you ready for some more trope? I think you are. We'll review. We'll review every class right from the beginning. So. Uh-oh.
Oh,
So this one, I made up the hand motion with my Cohen Hillel kids, which all of my kids like. Darga. A lot of my kids sort of shimmy with it. It's that one. Darga Tivir. So we have a darga, that's that backward Z. Tivir. Now Tivir has some different friends here. So darga Tivir. Very good. Now we have mercha Tivir. Now mercha sounds different, sort of like munach. Mercha is a little similarly insecure. Hold on one second. Okay, so mercha Tivir. Try that again. Mercha Tivir. Very good. So notice the mercha sounds totally different. Okay, so when you see a mercha hanging out with a tivir, it sounds totally different than a regular mercha. Okay, so let's do mercha tivir again. Mercha tivir. Yeah, mercha. Again, mercha tivir. Darga again. Darga tivir. Very good, tivir. Tivir. Let's try to do this by yourselves. Ready? Darga tivir. Mercha tivir. Tivir. Nice.
The darga again.
Darga. Darga.
Tivir.
Good. Tivir again.
Tivir.
Now let's see. I think we have some of these in here. Let's look in our Torah.
Yeah, the 17.
Oh, we missed. Sorry, we actually missed Kadma V'Azla. Oh, we've got a whole. We're starting with all this stuff. So let's start. Actually, let's go back to Kadma V'Azla for a second. Very first 2 words. So we have Kadma V'Azla. Let's just stop there for a second, because then it's not followed by a Revi'i. Okay, so we just have Kadma V'Azla. Now, what are the words? Vaya'anu v'nei Yaakov. Okay, good. Let's sing it. Vaya'anu v'nei Yaakov. Again. Vaya'anu. In the very beginning. First two words.
Two words.
Yeah, you see it? Vaya'anu v'nei Yaakov. Good. Now we have, what do we have? What's the trope that we have next? Over Shechem. What is it?
Kadma.
It is Kadma. Kadma. So Kadma, now we have an isolated Kadma. That's weird. It's the same Kadma that we did before Mapach. So Kadma, Mapach, Pashta, Munah, Katon. Right, but we just don't have that rest of that phrase. We just have the Kadma. Kadma. So just sing that again. Kadma. Very good. Again. Kadma. So with the word Shechem. Very good. Now we have Mercha Tivir. Try it again. Mercha Tivir. Make sure you go Mercha. Again. Mercha Tivir. Very good. So we have Ve'et Chamor Aviv. Again. Ve'et Chamor Aviv. Good. Once more. Ve'et Chamor Aviv. Now, sometimes when we're learning multiple phrases, and here it's very complicated because we've got Shechem, right? The Kadma, which is just one isolated trope,
Sherman, I'm at trope.
which is very confusing.
Bye.
So it's okay. So we have one kadma. That's very confusing when it's isolated like that, not in a phrase, followed by another phrase. So one thing I like to do when I'm trying to internalize these phrases that are now getting complicated is we look at them individually. So we have ve'et chamor aviv, right? We just did shechem. Now we want to sew them together. Okay, so we did ve'et chamor aviv. Now we've mastered it, right? Now we're gonna go back just to that word right before. Okay, shechem ve'et chamor aviv. You see how we're sewing them together again? Shechem ve'et chamor aviv. Just you guys. Shechem ve'et chamor aviv. Beautiful. Now we're going to sew it to the piece before it. Okay? So, Vaya'anu v'nei Yaakov. How does that go? Kadma v'yazla. Vaya'anu v'nei Yaakov et Shechem ve'et chamor aviv. Try it again. Vaya'anu v'nei Yaakov et Shechem ve'et chamor aviv. Good. Stop there for a second, just for a breath. Okay. And by the way, that kadma is on et Shechem. I was saying it was on Shechem, but it's on et Shechem. It's one word because they're hyphenated, or they're with a dash between them. So breathe for a second. How do you guys feel? That was like a very complicated piece of trope. Yeah. But it sounds like you're getting it. Okay. So let's look past. Where else do you see any of these phrases?
The bottom is a dagar.
Ah, yes, there is. And I think that is the next one. Yeah. So you see number 17 at the bottom. Oops, showing you guys the wrong one. Right here. Ve'im lo tishme'u. So we have darga tivir again. Darga tivir. Once more by yourself. Darga tivir. Very good. Oh, continue. No, do it with the words. Ve'im lo tishme'u eleinu lehimol. End it. Velakachnu et biteinu vehalachnu. Beautiful.
Nice.
So how does
Very
that
nice.
darga go again?
Darga. Try it. Darga tivir. Usually has a tivir after it. Yeah.
Do they usually go together?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you really start to learn phrases when you see the beginning. You sort of often know what's coming, after you've done it. This is very good. Any questions about this stuff?
You have to have a good voice for all this.
No, you don't. It's not singing. It's chanting. No, you don't.
A lot of
A lot of
people,
it is
lot
that's
of
the
people,
case.
No,
a
you
lot of
don't.
people do it that don't have good.
Yeah, you do
voices.
not. Because it's not about, it's about the language. You're telling a story. You don't need to have a good voice to be a storyteller. It's just, this is punctuation.
It's nice if
phrasing.
you have a nice voice.
It's really
it's nice, but it's definitely
We're
not a requirement at all.
We're Balkari in training.
Yeah.
Yeah, Balkari.
Maybe out of a job soon if you guys get too good. We'll see. But
I don't think so.
So I don't know if I want to. Oh, it's past 11, so we should definitely stop here. And I don't want to add any
Brain
more.
is full.
There's a
We're
few
ready for you to
more
stop.
we'll look at next week. There's a few
Okay.
more. But you've covered all of the major ones. Okay, so really quick review. What did we learn today? We reviewed Mercha Tipcha Munah Tachta. That phrase we learned. We reviewed Mercha Tipcha Mercha Sopf-pasuk, and we learned Kadma. Ma Pa Pashta Munah Katon. And then sometimes the sentence is a little longer. We add Kadma. Kadma ma pa pashta munah katon. What else did we learn? Then we learned some new ones. We learned we have our we have our Soph-pasuk. We have our Kadma. What else did we learn today? We learned Kadma v'yasla munah rivihi. And that bottom one we learned Munah rivihi. And we learned Darga Tivir Mercha Tivir. Very good. And we applied all of that to our Torah reading for the first week of December, so whoever can make it. This is the third Aliyah, and we've actually gotten through like 99% of this Aliyah that we've been able to sing through. Yeah. So have fun. Have fun. I'll see you next week. And you can check on YouTube if you need to review anything.